They are basically saying, and I quote, get a black man because he'll let you do whatever you want. End of quote. Here's another one. Something I noticed that it's the 30 plus or divorced women, often with kids, going actively for a serious relationship with black men. It's like being a second option or last resort. Not really flattering.
It is Wild Wednesday, and I'm going to get wild and offensive with my videos because I think it's time somebody digs deep into our culture and into our people to figure out what is going on upstairs with our women. Divorce is on the rise more than ever among Middle Easterns, whether they live in the Middle East or abroad. And just like we saw among westernized countries like America, when the women became independent is when the family structures collapsed. They collapsed to the point where now women are waking up and saying, you know what? I want a home again. I want my kids to have a healthy home. Well, the Middle Easterns are not there. We are at the point where we are collapsing because not only are women independent asking for a divorce, but we also have culture shock. A lot of our women are extremely spoiled. Yes, I said it. A lot of our women are extremely spoiled, and the men cannot keep up. What is happening with our women? We went from a point where Arab men used to tell each other, marry her young, so you can raise her your way, which is not right either. Come to find out, المرأة ما بتتربى. You cannot raise the women because we get to a point where we know what we want. And did you guys know that 70% of divorces are initiated by women? And of those women, 90% of them are college educated. Are they sick of the abuse and they want out because they know they can support themselves? Or do they no longer want to make the sacrifice for their marriage? Let's talk about it. A lot of Muslim parents will say no to their daughters marrying a black man, and that's haram. It's straight out haram. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا أَتَاكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ خُلُقَهُ وَدِينَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. He said that if someone comes to you and you're okay with his deen, meaning his Islam, and his character, then marry him. He didn't say his tribe, he didn't say his skin color, he didn't say what race he is, what language he speaks. So many parents will use all of these excuses to stop their daughters from marrying black men, all because they have biases against black men. Because they think wrongly and in a haram way about black men. Did you know that Prophet Adam alayhi salam was black? Did you know that Prophet Musa alayhi salam was black? The color of your skin doesn't matter. In our deen, we have Arabized and whitewashed our history to make it seem that there are no black Muslims. But if a man comes to you and he's Muslim and he's black, you have no reason to say no, except that you're not happy with his Islam or his akhlaq, his character. Other than that, any other reason is haram. And if your parents are standing in your way and telling you you can't marry someone because of their skin color, you can disobey them. You absolutely can, because what they're doing is haram, and we have been instructed to be kind to them, to be respectful of our parents, but when they ask us to do something haram, we stand up and we say no.
I saw something very, very interesting, very shocking, and I was like, By the way, for me to even make this video was inspired by IamJ2630. I'm giving a shout out specifically because you're a big influence to making this video. Because without your video, I wouldn't have been able to see this. But it talked about a lot of things that I talked about before. But what I talked about before, we'll get to it in a moment. I just want to read the comments. So they say, precisely, in other words, they want someone who will not suppress their gamous nature. And it reminded me of a white South African lady who told me that black South men are easily accepting of their cultures. They don't need to transition into any other culture because black men are willing to do the transmission on their part. So when they come to black women, they be like, the woman is transitioning into the culture. However, it's not the case for them. They don't do that. So if a black man marries a Arabic woman, then that woman will not necessarily have to change into the culture of the man because the man has already adapted a culture of another man. Just like, the guy here is saying. And also here, they say They are also just about revenge dating black to make the Arab men jealous. They don't low key like black men either. They don't. They don't. They really just want their men to act right. And they're willing to sacrifice. Like the woman that said here, she talked a lot about, you know, the Western women needing to stand up by themselves, and they got to the point where they got to the ground and rised up. Now they realize they need men. I don't think that's the case because the 4B movement, I don't think they're rising anytime soon because the population decline is increasing in Europe. So she's wrong there. They're not there yet because they're done with men basically. They're like, no, no. But to get to my very point that I said I'll get to into my video. You see this guy, they say they're basically saying get a black man because he'll let you do whatever you want. A black man is not really you know loving himself that much. And then they say this one said, I'm so proud to be African because we have no interest in being racist. These people are fighting their inner demons not to. This is a lot about all of us. I believe the black race is the most free in regards to culture. But anyways, I'm not gonna address this too. But this one in particular, listen guys, no? There's overpraising of white, Arabic, Middle Eastern women. They know that you need them. They know that if I get with a black man, he's already suffering from self-hate anyways. So what I'm gonna do is just be with him. He's going to adapt into my culture. He's going to adapt to me. I'm not going to adapt to him. This is why a lot of kids in the mixed community do not speak their father's language. They speak the language of a colonizer that they inherited because the woman is not willing. They worship a Christian whatever. They're not willing to do mbuzi and all of those things. Do you think a white guy would allow that? Now, who has transitioned into a woman? Who? Who has transitioned into being a woman? You, the black man. But with a black woman, you want to make yourself, oh, a woman was transitioned into my culture and all of those nonsense. But you're not doing it with other races of women, you're doing it with me. And people wonder why my high standards are so high. My standards are high for a reason. They're so high for a reason. Because you're willing to become a doormat for any woman of other races. But when it comes to me, I must bow down to you. I must suffer for being with you. I must talk to you with respect because you're a man and you feel entitled to respect. But when it comes to other races of women, you are the doormat. You're the doormat. Sincerely. And here's another comment also. It says, something I noticed is that is the 30 plus or divorced women, often with kids, going actively for a serious relationship with black men. It's like being a second option or the last resort. Not really flattering. Because other women know that you have no self-respect. Yo, and it'd be like, yo, I'd rather be with a white woman because white women are so respectful. This is what they think of you. Wee. So have respect for yourself. It goes a long way, I promise you. Self-respect? I promise you. Love yourself. There's no one who's going to love you more than you. No one is going to cherish you more than you. When you love yourself, you love your people. You become a better influence in the community. Otherwise, you're going to be like this guy said, the last resort or the second option. Otherwise, The only reason they even go for black men is because they're going through a divorce. They're trying to alert their man that we're tired of this. We're tired of you. You understand what I'm saying? They are basically saying, and I quote, get a black man because he'll let you do whatever you want. End of quote. Here's another one. Something I noticed that it's the 30 plus or divorced women, often with kids, going actively for a serious relationship with black men. It's like being a second option or last resort. Not really flattering. So the topic is about Middle Eastern women currently going through a high divorce rate with Arab men. So they end up dating black men. Mostly because a black man is filled with so much internalized self hate, he ends up accommodating the white woman or other races of women. Something he would never do with a black woman because the black woman transitions her life into a black man's life. However, that's not the case with a black man marrying a woman from a different race. He ends up being the one transitioning into her culture. If a black man marries a Spanish woman, he will end up becoming Spanish himself. His descendants will lean in closer into the Spanish culture. His identity completely falls away. Get a black man because he will let you do whatever you want. Like in South Africa, for example, he won't even participate in his culture and traditions anymore. He's now Christian. He speaks English to his kids as a first language. He's literally transitioning himself to becoming a soft husband for his European or Middle Eastern partner. Something he would never do for a black woman, to becoming softer. This is why also I tell women not to settle. Is things of sort. A black man transitioning into a woman, that's exactly what these women are looking for. A partner that will not challenge them like they are men. So a black man has no authority whatsoever. He will willingly transition himself perfectly for her because he already puts her on this pedestal, you know? So he will do whatever it takes to please this partner of his. I want you to understand this, and I'm not trying to offend you when I say this. If it was possible for a black man to take a last name of a white woman, he would have done it. He would have transitioned his whole life into a white woman's life. He would become Mr. Van Wyk, or best yet, Mrs. Van Wyk. She would have to come as herself, enabling the white woman to carry on forth with her traditions, culture, history, and language. That will literally dominate your household. And you fall away. If she's a colored woman, you do the same thing. You become a Christian. You would speak Afrikaans. And your descendants would be doing the same thing. Don't pretend like you like being stepfathers. You consistently on this app reduce black women with kids to nothing. You only value raising kids who aren't black. You only have a voice with black women. Otherwise, this is why other races of women prefer to marry you. You are easy. Much better than their own men.